What is up, people? My name's Clay. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Positive Times. Thanks for stopping in. While you're here, go ahead and click subscribe so you can keep up with the positive content that I'm going to be sharing with you. I procrastinated making this video, which is why I will be shooting this in workout attire. I'm not going to change clothes. I've got to go do some stuff after this. But I wanted to share with you why 2018 was the best year of my life. Before we jump into my plans for 2019, I feel like we need to go over what happened in 2018. I believe it was like a changing year in my life. My goodness, I traveled to Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, a lot of states, anything north of Texas and west. Why did I do that? Well, I quit my job. I worked at this cool place called the Best Hat Store for 3.5 years. It's what brought me to Fort Worth, which is where I currently am, which is where I'm shooting this video. And at the beginning of the year, I asked God for one word for 2018, and He gave me this word, go. And about a week later, He told me He was going to be asking me to leave my job. And I really didn't want to believe Him, and I thought I was going crazy. I called my mom, and she was like, honey, you know that the devil speaks too. And I thought, okay, thanks Mom, appreciate the help. But he actually answered some prayers before I made the decision to leave my job. I'm not telling you to leave your job. He answered some prayers. I just asked Him, I threw some fleece out there for Him, and I was like, hey God, if you want this to be true, I want X, Y, and Z to happen. And X, Y, and Z happened like immediately within 24 hours. And I was just like, man, this is crazy. I'm freaking quitting my job. I moved up here when I was 19. I had an amazing job with a salary, full benefits. I got to shape hats and work with some of the best people in the world, best rodeo athletes. I've met people like John Pardee and Charlie Daniels, to name a few, like on first name basis. It was an amazing opportunity, and the Best Hat Store is family to me. But God was calling me into something else, and I really didn't even know where I was going or what I was doing. But what I did is I took a big leap of faith, and I left my job, gave my job a 4 months heads up, and April 1, I hit the road, and I took a few awesome trips. And in the middle of these trips, well, let me start over. Before I went on these trips, I thought, Clay, you're gonna launch your YouTube channel, you're gonna launch your podcast, you're gonna make the most of this summer. Put out as much content as you can, inspire the world. Nobody's quitting their job at 23, leaving their apartment and traveling the country. Like I felt like there was so much opportunity with people like Gary Vee and these inspirational speakers for me to go do something that would inspire other people to take risks for God. And I bought this camera, and I hit the road, and everywhere I went, I didn't have cell phone service or Wi-Fi. First trip, Big Bend. No cell phone service, no Wi-Fi. Took my camera with me, and every time I picked it up, y'all, I'm telling you, I had this weird sense of like, put it down, and I felt really uncomfortable making videos or trying to vlog, which is what I was going to do all summer, was vlog these trips as I lived out in my car, traveled. And basically, what happened was God spoke to me really clearly, and He said, son, I want you to be more focused on being in the moment than trying to capture the moment. And I was like, this is going to seem like complete and utter failure to everyone around me when I'm not working, when I'm not pushing my brand and trying to work for myself and just live and travel, which is cool. I've never been anywhere besides Texas really before that anyway, so this was a great opportunity to seize the moment of the age that I was in, the money that I had saved up, and either buy a house, go out of debt, or travel the country. And I was like, well, I can buy a house later, I'll figure out the debt part later, and I'll travel the country. And I knew that's what God wanted me to do, so I just trusted Him with everything that I have, which is really what I try to do in my everyday life, but this took a lot of faith. My camera stayed in my bag most of the time. Every time I tried to pick it up, I just felt like it was wrong, and something felt uneasy. Like seriously, like a physical uneasiness would come over me, and I was like, what is going on? Like, people are gonna think I'm a failure. But then some amazing things happened. I would just go out into the world and live my everyday life, listening to the Holy Spirit, listening to the Lord, and what I found was miracles started taking place. Now, these things started taking place before I left for my job. They started happening at work, actually, and then they started happening everywhere I went. And I would just get these little whisper in my head, like, hey, that person's left knee hurts. And I would just walk up to me like, hey, how's your left knee? And they would tell me it hurts. And I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. God's speaking to me. And I felt like, okay, well, if he's speaking to me and I'm correct, then, hey, let me pray for you. And people are kind of like, that's kind of weird, especially when you're not in Texas, when you're places like Denver or Washington or Oregon or Utah, and these people are like, you're not in the Bible Belt anymore. But when you're nice and you approach people with love, ultimately love wins. Some people say no, and that's okay. Like, you're not here to push things on them. I'm not trying to get them in a headlock and pray a prayer with me. I just want to pray for them. No strings attached. I don't want anything in return. Jesus doesn't either. And so he just wants to love people through us. And so what I would try to do is just go out, live my life, and if I heard something, I would act on it. And what I started seeing was these miracles taking place. And I realized this is not normal. God must be on the move. He's wanting to do something. And what I realized is if I would have been more focused on capturing the moment, I probably would have been too focused on myself and trying to create content and not just listening to what the Lord wanted to do in that moment for these people. And so I started being really comfortable living in the moment and setting aside my ambitions and my goals and just being comfortable with listening to the Lord, whatever that looked like or whatever that may be. And that's what inspired my podcast that I'll be shooting this year. Miracles Do Happen. Shameless plug. Yeah, I'll be getting to that this year. I'm really excited for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about these stories in detail. I'm going to invite other people on the show to tell their stories. My goal is to inspire the world about what God is capable of doing. And hopefully give hope to those who are in need of a miracle and inspire other people to go out and take steps of faith for God. Anyways, yeah, so I traveled the country and it was amazing. I had the time of my life. I saw some of the most beautiful places that America has to offer. I got to witness God do some incredible, amazing things. And let me tell you, I got back and I was not a YouTube star. I barely had grown my Instagram account. And I almost kind of sort of really felt like an utter failure. And I'm sure a lot of my friends, actually I had some friends reach out to me and they're like, hey, aren't you supposed to be creating content? I was like, look, it sounds crazy, but God doesn't want me to do that. And I've just been on this journey with the Lord of being patient and listening for Him and understanding that this is going to happen in His time. And it was like, how much do I have to wait? How much do I have to not work? So I learned a lot about myself in 2019. I went through some dark depression. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about God in those moments. And I want to share with you what I learned. And my goal with this channel and some of the videos that I'll be creating are really to help you in your life draw closer to God and bring other people in your life closer to God with you. I want to be real and authentic about the things that I've been through in life. My parents' divorce, my own divorce, my battle with addictions and stuff as a teenager. And what I'm doing now that looks completely different. And what God is doing, what He's capable of when we put all of our trust in His hands. So 2018 was by far the best year of my life. Was it the weirdest? Yes. Was it the hardest? Yes. Was it the coolest and I got to see some of the most amazing, beautiful places that America has to offer? Absolutely. Would I trade it for anything? No. Am I where I would have planned and wanted to be at the beginning of 2018? Absolutely not. Now that I'm in 2019, I'm so far away from where I thought I would want to be. But I'm exactly where God wants me to be. And I have faith in that. And I can't thank you enough for your support. If you're watching this, you're supporting me. If you want to support me some more, you can go to my website, positivetimes.org, and you can read some of the blogs, be inspired, shop some of these cool t-shirts that really help fund my mission and everything that I'm doing. And don't forget, click subscribe. Stay up to date on what I'll be doing with these videos and be uploading them more and more often. Get a closer look into my life, what we're doing with Positive Times, what I'm doing with this podcast. Do me a favor, share this content with somebody else. Share it with a friend. Send it in an email. Tag somebody on my Instagram post. Whatever you can do. It's not about me. It's all about pointing people back to Jesus because He's the one who helped me anyway. But if He can speak through me and speak to you, that's what we're here for. I love you guys. Stay positive.